Newsom, who's running around saying we all have California derangement syndrome. He's just like ripping off Trump derangement and calling it California derangement. It's like, no. How many corporations have left California?
It's crazy.
Joe Rogan and Gavin Newsom's heated back and forth shows no signs of cooling, as Rogan fires back with sharp criticism on the California governor, this time with Elon Musk joining the fray. Both men laid out tough criticism of Newsom's policies of the Golden State, and the result was brutally funny. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's dive in.
But there's always something. That's what's nuts. There's always some new law that's passed, some new insane thing that California's doing.
Yeah.
And it's like a giant chunk of it's happening in California. The most preposterous things that I get.
Yeah.
And then you got
crazy.
Gavin Newsom, who's running around saying we all have California derangement syndrome. He's just like ripping off Trump derangement and calling it California derangement. It's like, no. How many corporations have left California?
It's crazy. Like,
hundreds.
Yes, hundreds.
Right? Hundreds.
Yes.
That's not good.
I think In-N-Out left.
Yeah, In-N-Out left. They moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, we can't do this anymore.
Right. And
It's
like
the California company for food. It's
Yes.
like the greatest hamburger place ever.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not actually speaking of like just sort of open source and like looking at things openly. Like I just like going In-N-Out and seeing them make the burger.
Joe Rogan's and Gavin Newsom's heated back and forth shows no signs of cooling as Rogan fires back with sharp criticism of the California governor, this time with Elon Musk joining the fray. Both men laid out tough criticism of Newsom's policies in the Golden State, and the result was brutally...
I'm not actually speaking of like just sort of open source and like looking at things openly. Like I just like going In-N-Out and seeing them make the burger.
Yeah, it's right there.
They chop the onions and they it's you just see everything getting made in front of you.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, it should be like, how many wake-up calls do you need to say that it needs to be reform in California? You know.
Well, the crazy thing that Newsom does is whenever someone brings up the problems in California, he starts rattling off all the positives. The most Fortune 500 companies, highest education. But yeah, that was all already there
right.
before you were governor.
But how many Fortune 500 companies have left California?
Right. And then you guys spent $24 billion on the homeless, and it got way worse.
Yes. Like the homeless population doubled or something. Like people don't understand like the homeless thing because it sort of preys on people's empathy, and I think we should have empathy, and we should try to help people.
California has witnessed a steady exodus. Discover more video transcription service product reviews and price comparison from the doors of Fortune 500 companies, with many blaming Gavin Newsom's administration for creating an increasingly hostile business climate. Tesla relocated its headquarters from Palo Alto to Austin in 2021, citing high living costs and restrictive regulations that stifled innovation. Oracle followed suit, moving from Redwood City to Austin in 2020 to benefit from lower taxes and greater workforce flexibility. Even Chevron, after more than a century in California, shifted its headquarters to Houston in 2024, frustrated by excessive regulations and skyrocketing operational costs. These corporate departures underscore growing concerns that California's economic model is driving away the very businesses that once made the Golden State a symbol of American prosperity.
The homeless industrial complex is really it's dark, man. It should be that network of NGOs should be called like the drug zombie farmers, because the more homeless people and really like when you meet like somebody who's like totally dead inside, shuffling along down the street with a needle dangling out of their leg. Homeless is the wrong word. Like homeless implies that somebody got a little behind on their mortgage payments, and if they just got a job offer, they'd be back on their feet. But someone who's you see these videos of people that are just shuffling, they're on the fentanyl, they're like, taking a dump in the middle of the street, and they got like open sores and stuff. They're not like one job offer away from getting back on their feet.
It's wild when you think about it. California poured a staggering $24 billion into solving its homelessness crisis. Yet, the problem hasn't just persisted, it's doubled. And honestly, few are shocked. The failure lies in the state's approach. Instead of cleaning up public areas and helping people rebuild their lives, the policies effectively normalized street living. Tent encampments became permanent fixtures, while the government's compassionate programs only enabled dependency. The homeless weren't lifted out of poverty. They were left feeling like the streets were their only option. It's a tragic cycle of wasted money, misplaced priorities, and moral pretense disguised as empathy, leaving California streets looking more like failed social experiments than the golden promise they once were.
It's a propaganda word,
Right.
So, and then the these sort of charities, in quotes, are they get money proportionate to the number of homeless people or number of drug zombies.
Right.
So their incentive structure is to maximize the number of drug zombies, not minimize it.
Right.
That's why they don't arrest the drug dealers. Because if they arrest the drug dealers, the drug zombies leave. So they know who the drug dealers are. They don't arrest them on purpose. Because otherwise the drug zombies would leave and they would stop getting money from the state of California and from all the charities.
Musk is absolutely right. It's becoming clear that some groups lean on the language of empathy while benefiting from systems that continue receiving funding without delivering results. What's worse, many of those on the streets aren't just victims of circumstance. They're trapped in cycles of drug addiction and mental illness, left without proper support or direction. What they need isn't more virtue, signaling, or inflated budgets. They need real government intervention. That means expanding structured recovery programs, increasing access to mental health treatment, and expanding drug treatment enforcement in high-risk areas. Combine that with transitional housing and job reintegration support, and you'd see actual recovery. Until then, the system will keep rewarding programs that don't deliver real results, and it remains a tragedy for everyone else.
They're in coordination with law enforcement on this?
Yeah.
So how do they have those meetings?
They're all in cahoots.
Well, when you find this...
It's like such... This is a diabolical scam. And San Francisco has got this tax, this gross receipts tax, which it's not even on revenue; it's on all transactions, which is why Stripe and Square and a whole bunch of financial companies had to move out of San Francisco because it wasn't a tax on revenue; it's a tax on transactions. So if you do trillions of dollars transactions, it's not revenue. You're taxed on any money going through the system in San Francisco. Like Jack Dorsey pointed this out, and they said look, that they had to move Square from San Francisco to Oakland, I think. Stripe had to move from San Francisco to South San Francisco, a different city. And that money goes to the homeless industrial complex, that tax that was passed. So there's billions of dollars that go, as you pointed out, billions of dollars every year that go to these non-governmental organizations that are funded by the state.
Now, this is an eye-opening revelation, and it perfectly explains why California has funneled billions of dollars into solving the homelessness crisis. Yet the problem stubbornly refuses to go away. The truth is much of that money never reaches the people it's meant to help. Instead, it disappears into a web of nonprofits, contractors, and bureaucratic programs that operate in structures that reward activity instead of real outcomes. It's reminiscent of when the Trump administration cut off certain charities funded by USAID after discovering that funds were being misused for political agendas and administrative bloat instead of humanitarian aid. The same principle applies here. When money meant for solutions becomes a paycheck for middlemen, the crisis only deepens. California doesn't have a homelessness funding problem. It has major accountability and oversight issues framed as
it's a self-licking ice cream cone situation. They get this money. The money is proportionate to the number of homeless people or number of drug zombies, essentially. So they try to keep that. They try to actually increase, because that like in some cases, like it's somebody did an analysis. When you add up all the money that's flowing, they're getting close to $1 million per homeless per drug zombie. It's like $900,000, something like some crazy amount of money is going to these organizations. So so they want to keep people just barely alive. They need to keep them in the area so they get the revenue. And that's why, like I said, they don't arrest the drug dealers because otherwise the drug zombies would leave. But they don't want to have too much. If they get too much drugs, then they die. So they're kept in this sort of perpetual zone of being addicted, but just
Many companies have fled San Francisco, driven out by punitive tax structures and business discouraging policies that have made the city nearly impossible to operate in. Once a thriving hub of innovation, San Francisco is now a cautionary tale of overregulation, high costs, and political arrogance. And at the center of it all is Gavin Newsom. Critics argue that under his leadership, California's economy has deteriorated. Businesses are leaving, homelessness is soaring, and crime is rising. Despite countless warnings from entrepreneurs and residents alike, Newsom seems unmoved, continuing to double down on policies that are sinking the state deeper into crisis. The frustration has reached a boiling point with growing calls for accountability. To many Californians, Newsom's tenure represents not leadership, but policy mismanagement, a textbook example of how misguided governance can drive a golden state into economic and social.
How is this coordinated with like DAs that they'll prosecute people?
Yeah.
So when they hire they push, so they fund the campaigns of the most progressive, most out there left-wing DAs. They get them into office.
We've got that issue in Austin too, by the way. So some friends of mine were telling me that like the library's unsafe. Like they took their kids to the library, and there were like dangerous people in the library in Austin. And I was like, dangerous people in the library? Like that's a strange. It basically get like drug zombies and drug zombies.
The homelessness crisis will only end when the California government decides it truly wants to solve it, not just talk about it. Real change, music, requires courage, not performative compassion. Too often, certain progressive activists insist the homeless should be left alone, claiming the streets are their natural habitat. That mindset has done nothing but normalize human suffering. What's needed are decisive, results-driven measures, expanding structured rehabilitation programs and mental health programs, cleaning up encampments, investing in affordable transitional housing, and enforcing laws that keep public spaces safe and livable for everyone. This isn't about cruelty. It's about accountability and restoring dignity. If California continues down this path of denial, the crisis won't just remain within its borders. Music, it will spill into neighboring states, spreading the same policies that failed to fix the problem in the first place.
Isn't there a crazy story about the judge who was involved, who had previously dealt with this person, was also invested in a rehabilitation center and was sending these
conflict of interest?
Yes. So sending people that they were charging to a rehabilitation center instead of putting them in jail, profiting from this rehabilitation center, letting them back out on the street.
Yes, and
violent, insane people.
And there, in that case, I believe that judge has no law degree or a significant legal experience that would allow them to be a judge.
From the look of things, and if what Musk is saying holds any truth, then California's homelessness crisis is far from over because the very people tasked with solving it may actually be fueling it. Musk argues that the system is structured in ways that often benefit insiders, consultants, nonprofit executives, and political music operatives who thrive on the endless flow of government funds. Instead of tackling root causes like addiction, mental illness, and joblessness, the state keeps throwing money into programs that create the illusion of progress while preserving the problem. And according to Musk, this isn't accidental. It's ideological. The progressive political establishment, he claims, uses the crisis to push narratives about inequality and systemic oppression while the billions meant for relief quietly disappear. If that's true, California isn't battling homelessness. It's allowing the failure to continue. Because incentives never change. Sadly, the homelessness crisis has evolved beyond tents and littered sidewalks. It's now a serious public safety issue. In many California cities, the homeless population isn't just loitering on the streets. Some have created real public safety concerns in certain areas. Open drug use has become commonplace, and with it comes unpredictable and sometimes violent behavior. Residents report being harassed or attacked while simply walking to work or driving through once-safe neighborhoods. Business owners are struggling as crime and vandalism surge around their stores. Law enforcement officers, meanwhile, are stretched thin, forced to manage what has become both a social and criminal epidemic. This growing sense of fear has led many to believe that the spike in crime across California is directly tied to the unchecked rise in homelessness, a crisis created by poor policies, music, and worsened by political inaction.